Astro here, and in today's video I want to discuss the recent Skyward Sword HD and how it might connect to Breath of the Wild 2 and Skyward Sword's connection to the original Breath of the Wild. The first thing is the 3 Sacred Springs. These are found throughout Hyrule and are the exact same ones from Skyward Sword. They are the exact same layout, they include the exact same statue of Hylia, but this time they require pieces of the dragons, which was not required in Skyward Sword, as the dragons were most likely different dragons than the ones seen in Breath of the Wild. The next thing I wanted to point out is the Sealed Temple and the Forgotten Temple. These are most likely the same exact location, because the Forgotten Temple in Breath of the Wild contains the biggest statue of Hylia out of anywhere in the entire game, and it's about the same size as the one from Skyward Sword. And there's also small trees, which could be the Tree of Life, lined up along the walls. Also in the Forgotten Temple, there are Loftwing designs at the very start of it. So this is definitely most likely the Sealed Temple from Skyward Sword. Another point about the dragons that I wanted to make is how they disappear into cloud portals. These cloud portals could be a reference to the cloud barrier that Hylia set up in Skyward Sword. Most likely not. These are most likely just portals of which the dragons leave to go to wherever they go to. Another thing that's really similar to Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild is Zelda's dress. They're both white gown-ish dresses with bracelets that are pretty much the exact same. The only difference is that one is purple and the other is gold. And then the last point that I wanted to discuss about the original Breath of the Wild is that the time shift stones might actually be the ancient energy. My theory for this is because they can be used for time travel as seen with Terraco, they could actually be the same exact thing, and also because they have the same bluish tint, which is very likely to mean that the ancient energy used to power Sheikah technology is the same energy which the ancient Sheikah from way before Skyward Sword used to power their technology. Now let's move on to the sequel and my theories for it. Now we have floating islands back in the Zelda series. These were also seen in Skyward Sword, obviously, with Skyloft. We may very well see the ruins of Skyloft because it never fell back down to the surface. Now that would be an excellent dungeon idea, but I don't think we're going to see it because these floating islands are a lot different to the ones seen in Skyward Sword. They're a lot more angular and blocky. So it's probably a different technology used to keep them afloat. The return of Loftwings could happen due to there's no real way to get around the floating islands in the sequel. And Loftwings could very well be the horses of the sky, which you have to go and catch your own wild Loftwing. And then the last thing that I wanted to point out was the ancient Hylian architecture. I do think that the architecture seen on the floating islands is ancient Hylian. Like ancient Hylian, like something that the goddess built herself, because they are very reminiscent to the sealed Sky Keep in Skyward Sword, and just the intricate stonework does not look to be anything that we've seen from any other previous race or culture in Hyrule in Breath of the Wild. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I wanted to discuss. Honestly, not a lot. But there is a lot of connections in the original Breath of the Wild Skyward Sword. So I do think that this is the reason why they re-released it on Switch. And also even more connections coming out in the sequel, of course. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this shorter discussion style video, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.